Master here. I'm here with Vato.
One and only.
And we are going to talk about Sensei UFC Calgary. It was a really good card. We're only going to talk about the 3 last fights. And I'm going to really dissect the Aldo Stevens fight. But we're going to talk about all of them. Okay, first one, Joanna against Tisha. It was a good fight. But, I mean...
A lot of clinching.
A lot of clinching, and Joanna showed that she was superior from the outside, and she could be superior on the inside. Yeah. So it was really hard for Tisha, because if she got her on the ground, she would probably excel on the ground. She would probably dictate the pace and everything on the bottom, on the ground. But it didn't get to the ground because Joanna was just too good, and her striking was good. It was a close fight, but not that close.
Nah.
Joanna won the fight. I mean, nobody could have given it to Tisha. Well, nowadays you never know. So she won that fight. Basically, I would say distance rules.
Distance is king.
But I mean, to be honest, like Joanna was controlling the distance when she wanted to be on the outside, but then sometimes she wanted to be on the inside and clinch. And she controlled the distance there and did more damage. And Tisha was not able to take her to the ground. That was her big hope. That was maybe not her only hope, but pretty much her only hope.
The game plan, right?
And she could not do it. So, fight went to Joanna without a doubt. Okay. Now let's talk about the main event. Was Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin Poirier. A little bit of controversy.
Which was the elbow?
Yeah. It was back and forth, so it was kind of anybody's fight. And then Alvarez got Dustin against the cage in a kind of weird position where he was kind of sitting down against the cage. And Eddie Alvarez was in a position to do a lot of damage. But one of the things he decided to do was a 12-6 elbow, but it was on the shoulder. But that's still illegal. In fact, if the guy had his arm like where he's grabbed me, and I did a 12-6 elbow on his hand, it's still a foul. I could do a 12-6 elbow on his foot, and it's still a foul. It's the stupidest rule. I don't know if it's the stupidest.
No, I was gonna say there's some pretty dumb ones, man. But
this is one of the stupidest rules in all of MMA. It just makes no sense. I could see doing that, and the reason it started, somebody's going for a takedown, and some guy was doing this, like to the back of the head and right in the neck, the spinal cord. So that's why that rule was made. And that actually was one of my fighters, Gan McGee, did that years ago, and that's why they made that rule 12-6. So you guys can thank Gan McGee for that silly rule. But what they meant was, hey, let's not hit him in the spinal cord or the back of the neck. So they just said 12-6 without specifying. So you can't even do a 12-6 elbow on their elbow. Like if you were hitting someone's elbow with a 12-6, you're still getting fouled. So it made no sense. It's a stupid, it makes no sense. It's the stupidest rule. But the referee, Mark Goddard, he has to abide by that rule. He does not make the rules. If he did, he would have said, okay, keep fighting. But he can't, because if he let it go on after that, and then Dustin Poirier's people complained, and they watched a video and said, hey, there was a 12-6 elbow, that you didn't even stop it or anything, they'd have an argument. So when there's a foul, he has to put them in a neutral position. The person that's getting fouled cannot stay in an inferior position.
Which was the bottom.
He was the bottom. So Dustin was on the bottom, and Eddie Alvarez was in the dominant position. So once you foul, the referee takes you out of dominant position. And that's the rules. Stupid as they may be, Mark Goddard didn't make that rule, but he has to abide by them, or that's his job, or he'll get in trouble. So he did the right thing. It was a stupid rule, but he had to abide by it. And then when they stood them back up, Dustin Poirier just started going, and he ended up knocking out Eddie Alvarez with a bunch of flurries. So people could argue, well, if you didn't stand him up, then it wouldn't have gone to Dustin Poirier. But then the reality is, if Eddie Alvarez threw an elbow like this, or punches, or hammer blows, then they wouldn't have had to stand him up. But his action of throwing a 12-6, and every fighter knows this. This is in every single rules meeting. Everybody is drilled on the 12, not to do the 12-6 elbow. So the fact that he did it, that was on him. So even Dustin, when it happened to him, the referee came there, and Dustin Poirier said, hey, this didn't hurt. It was no big deal. Let it go. But Mark Goddard had no choice, so he stood them up. Bing. Okay. Semi-main event, the co-main event, was Jeremy Stephens versus Jose Aldo. And it was just like people expected. It was a slugfest, back and forth. But then, what Jose saw was, when he started throwing this right hand, which he was just swinging it, Jeremy started doing this to defend against the right hand. Boom. So he did it planning and setting up the liver shot. Because when Jeremy put his hands up, boom, he came right back with this power shot, because he put all his weight into this, and then he just came back with this power liver shot that dropped. Let me show you from this angle. It dropped Jeremy, because it'll drop anyone, let me tell you. Anyone in the world gets hit with that, they would have gone down. So he threw this to get his hands up, and then he just came in right there. The opening was right there. And he dropped Jeremy Stephens. He jumped on him and hit him. Some people thought it was a premature stoppage. I didn't, because he was getting hit and he was trying to cover up. But then towards the end, the last couple strikes were not blocked at all. He was not in a position to defend himself. It was a good stoppage. So he just started hammer blowing him and punching him on the ground, and I don't think he was even breathing right at that point.
Painful.
It's so painful. So that was the main lesson. Setting up the liver shot, okay? And I'm going to do a video right now on how to set up the liver shot. I'm going to show you 4 ways to set up that liver shot. So we're going to go right now. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment and share this video. And it's going to be linked to 4 ways to set up the liver shot. I'm going to show you 4 ways to set up the liver shot. The link will be here or down below. All right, thanks for coming, guys.